Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic rolls on this Thursday morning. WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KMBN Rapid City, Inforum.com. I want to say a couple weeks ago, I saw the news come through. I'm like, wait a minute, this can't be right. And I was making sure I wasn't getting pranked on it, but it is accurate. Though for the first time in almost 2 decades, there's going to be a new boys basketball coach at Minot High next year. Dean Winczewski announced that he is retiring from coaching after 25 years and 6 state championships, 2 at Dickinson and 4 at Minot. And I can't believe I haven't had him on my show before, so I appreciate him not giving me a hard time that he actually comes on today to give us the lowdown. It's great to see you. Why now? Why was this the time to step away?
It's just the timing of it actually works out. There's a few reasons. First, after all this time of playing, like when I picked up a basketball when I was young, as I told our kids at our banquet when I told them, it was a 42-year love affair with the game. Like I picked it up, and for whatever reason, I had an aptitude for it. Like I had success, and it was fun. And then I got to play in high school and got to play at Minot State, and it was a great experience. And I knew I wanted to stay with it. And once I got into teaching, I had some great opportunities in Dickinson, and it was always, I don't want to say I put it in front of our family, but it was always something that was very important to our family. My wife's been awesome with it, and then our kids got into it, and it finally became a job. Like it was always something that I just did. I loved it. And it just kind of hit me this year that it was starting to wear on me mentally and physically a little more, all the travel and everything. And so then as you weigh that with the fact that I've got 3 kids that are going in 3 different directions starting next year. I've got a sophomore at Valley City throwing implements for track and field. Eric's going to Dickinson State, and we're blessed to have both of those two have the opportunity to play sports in college. And then my youngest is going to be a sophomore, and he played sophomore in JV for us this year. And my guess is, just looking at what we have back, he'll have a chance to get on the varsity floor some. So nice. It seemed like the right time. I don't want to miss as much. Like I missed a ton of stuff for them in junior high, and there gets to be a point where you want to be a dad. And I know there's people that probably thought it was selfish, and but you know what? I'm going to be selfish when it comes to my family on this.
So when you told the team, was that nobody knew? Like, who knew that this was going to be it?
Well, I didn't realize how I guess the rumor mill works, but people had started to hear things or saw things and whatever else, and there was questions about it. And there were some kids who didn't think it was going to happen. And you do this for so long, you kind of build a familiarity. And with as much work as we did, all of these kids, I've grown up with them, especially the senior class with Eric in there. And the younger kids, they've always been around during the summer. And Eric's group, we had one of our freshmen, and you know them. And you get to know the parents as you go through this. Like there's a couple of them I played basketball with in college, and you get to know these people. And I think there was some surprise. That most everybody's been very supportive. Like they understand, and it gets to a point where you got to put everybody first. And what people don't understand, and I'm going to give a plug for my son Eric here, is they don't realize how hard it is to be a coach's kid. That's such a delicate balance for people. What did one of my friends say is they better be the best or the worst, and it ain't going to work out otherwise. And we were very fortunate with the career Eric had in high school, and he earned his right. And there's people that are going to say he didn't, and some of that wore on him, especially as a junior, and it really bothered him. This year he kind of blocked it out and had an absolutely wonderful year for us, but it was hard on him. And my youngest is a little more sensitive. It would be a little bit harder on him. And I want him to be able to enjoy basketball the way I did without having to feel extra pressure and just enjoying the game. And, I think it'll be a great thing. And, Eric is excited because we get to drive out to Dillon, Montana to watch him play for 4 years. Yeah. And I'm not looking forward to that trip. I mean, it's time for my wife and I, and we'll probably get some new restaurants to stop at on the way. But I think it'll be a great thing.
New league as well. We got a little bit of travel with Dickinson State's going to be going into his new conference. Tell me about the landscape of North Dakota big school basketball. How different is it, Dean, from even 15 years ago to what you just saw this past year?
I don't think, and this is going to be weird because we still have some of it, When I first got into coaching, and this was the weird part, 25 years ago, we weren't good. Like in Dickinson, we were really rebuilding, and I'm not afraid to say that we went 2-18, and I don't know how we won two, to be honest with you, but um, we'd get beat, and like we'd get beat by 20, and that was, you just got crushed. I think there wasn't near the separation that there is now. You know, I think there's a bigger gap between the best and the rest. Does that
Yep.
make sense?
Yep.
Like we didn't see, you know, some of the scores that we're seeing now. I think part of that is there's opportunities for kids in these bigger schools. I think with the freedom for coaches to have the gyms open more, kids are putting more time into the sport. I think that's a double-edged sword because we're seeing less participation in other sports with kids. You're seeing more single sport athletes, which is, like I said, I'm not so sure how I feel about that. The second part is when I first got into coaching, I looked at our league, and Gerald Vetter had been coaching at St. Mary's for 15 years. Gino had been at Minot, since the dawn of man, and Steve had been in Bismarck for forever, and Jerry Wilson, and I was the young guy coming in. And it was a much different league, and there wasn't near the turnover. But I think that happens with it really is a 12-month-a-year job now. And like I said, I'm not complaining about that. I got to meet a lot of great kids and be around people, and it's been a wonderful experience. I just think the landscape in that way has changed, and unfortunately, I think you're going to see the age of the dinosaur in coaching, like Mike, who just resigned this year at South, and Steve and Gene. You're not going to see people going. I think Gene was 32 years, and Moose was right around that, and Mike was all of that. I went 25. That's half my life. I know I look older than 49, but I coached for over half my life as a head coach, and it really wears on you. And a lot of it's positive because we're seeing really high level skilled athletic kids, but there isn't that balance, and you don't see the number of kids that are multi-sport near as much.
If I would have told you when you were 24 years old, you've been doing this for 25 years, would you have believed me?
Well, I would have been surprised I survived with as much stress and as high strung as I am. I know everyone's surprised when they hear that if they watched any games that I'm high strung, but the reality is this is what I wanted to do. And it sounds weird. Like even when I was in Dickinson, my goal was to get back to Minot. I love Minot. I'm not a Minot High guy, but I watched the program and the things Gene did with it. Yeah. And I'm good friends with a lot of the kids as I went through high school that went here, and I thought it would be a great opportunity, and the timing was phenomenal for the switch. My kids were little, and so they hadn't started school, and so when Gene announced his retirement, I think as soon as they opened it up, I think my application was in about 4 minutes after that, and it happened that there was a social studies teaching at Minot High, and it's been a great thing. And going up to this, people would ask, well, how long are you going to go? And they'd ask my wife, and it would be, okay, when Alex is done in 4 years, or will he go till the end? And it started to get year by year, if that makes sense to you. Like and like I said, I just kind of knew, and I'm not regretful. The best thing for me is when I went in and talked to our athletic director, Mitch was mad at me. Like I'm sitting on his couch waiting for him to get out of a meeting, and he goes, "You're not coming in here if you're bringing what I think you're bringing." And I just sat there. Yeah. And he goes, "Well, come in here then." And we had a long talk, and he's like, "No, you." And I just said, "Mitch, this has nothing to do with you." And people, I'm sure, were like, "Well, what did he?" Mitch and I get along very well. Are there things we disagree with? Yeah, but we're both like, if he's mad at me, he'll call me. He'll say, "Hey, let's sit down," and I'll do the same thing with him. I got to go out on my own terms. I got to do things I wanted to for 25 years, and felt really successful, and feel really good about where we are. Did I make mistakes? Yeah, way too many. But like I don't have any regrets. I'm not mad at the game. I'm excited for the future of Minot High basketball. And I think I'm pretty sure they're going to get really a high quality person in here and probably do a better job, which is awesome. And people ask, like, do you care? I go, yeah, like I'm the biggest fan. I still got my Minot High shirt on. I'm going to wear my colors. I bleed maroon and gold. And yeah, it's like I said, it seemed like the right time. Yeah. And it was, and like I said, Mitch has been really supportive. He wasn't very happy with me. He checked every day for about a week. We can pull this. We can get rid of this letter. I said, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
I have never asked you this. The towel. Where did that start? Was that right away? The towel on your shoulder. Did you have that the entire time, or how did that come about?
People read too much into that. It was just for wiping the board off.
Oh,
It was just, and it's like it was, yeah. And I had it on. I just needed a place to hold it, and as demonstrative as I am, if I held it all the time, my hands were constantly moving. People are thinking I'm waving it, so I'd put it on. Yeah, it was just literally just something to wipe my board off. And then it became okay. I have to. Coaches are ridiculously superstitious.
Yes.
You know this, and it became something that I did. I just had, and there was one game I forgot it, and it was one of my first years, and my wife was coming down to the game, God bless her, and I said, "You got to stop, and you got to buy me a black towel," and then of course we lost, and so then it was like there's certain things
no
that
black
I had to
towel
have,
again.
and yeah, and so she was awesome about bringing it, but and it just kind of became, and the coaches in our league would make fun of me. Horner came out one day with a beach towel, and the guys at Mandan gave me a bad time. And can a guy have a superstition without catching? But whatever, it's fine.
Was there? Give me either a site or a place that, boy, you loved to coach in. That it was just the environment was always. I'm assuming it was Bismarck, but maybe at Bismarck High. But was there a site that, boy, was a great place to coach in because you knew it was going to be a dynamite environment every time you were there?
Well, it's funny. I look back at, and my kids watch all of our own game films from Dickinson. We used to fill that place. It was phenomenal. And there was days the stage was filled. But aside from Minot High, like I think we have the best fans in the state, especially when Steve, the old Carl guard, was an absolute cracker box to play in. They took the best seats out for entry into the gym. And the kids this was before they wanted to limit what kids would say and all of this. And so their shirts were off, and it was wild. And we've had some great games at Century. To be honest with you, like I said, I didn't like going to any of them because they were hard to win in.
Yeah.
I mean, but you look at the atmosphere. Bismarck High was great, especially before they changed it. Just it was so much smaller and so much more intimate. Those are the places that were hard. And actually going to the old Williston gym was when Mark was up there, and we had some battles up there. There was the Phil was a phenomenal place when it was packed.
I know I talked to you after you completed the three-peat. Now look back at it, I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. I really believe that in this era we're in now, where there's parity, there's amount of changeover there is. How much, you look back at it now to win those 3 titles in a row to say, boy, that was pretty special what we did.
Yeah, it was. And I'm super proud of that. That's, people give coaches way too much credit and way too much blame. I believe both of those things. And the reality is, as I have to let kids into my room here.
It's okay.
The reality, that three-peat is something that I'll treasure. I do believe Darren Madden at Century has a great chance to do it the next 2 years.
Okay.
He's a phenomenal coach. He's a great dude. He's knows the game, and he does a great job of getting his teams prepared. And so really a lot of it is going to be dependent upon if people can catch them. Darren and I didn't like each other right away, and we've become very good friends. We had it this year. It was funny. We were playing here, and we had a kid with blood, and the rule is if you got 20 seconds to get blood rectified, or you got to sub in now. They changed that. And Peyton Shell got blood on his jersey, and Darren just starts screaming at us, 20, 19, 18. And he's laughing while he's doing it because he didn't want, and it was, it became, stuff that was fun like that. But they're going to be good. It is the parity in this league is in our state is so tough that it's not just that easy to be able to say, okay, we're just going to win, and you're going to do this, and everybody's going to be able to go and do it again. I selfishly, it took 50 years to do it. And what was really cool about it is one of the guys that was on Bismarck's team, his grandson was on our team. So they had family ties to it. Rich Olthoff and Max Olthoff. So
I know you got to go. I got to ask one last question here so before you get back to your day job. The one player that stands that you coached against, like, holy cow, that might be the best I've seen. Who comes to mind when I say that?
Oh God! Well, if you would ask me directly after the West Region, I said Hudson Sheldon, because I think he's still scoring on us in the regional.
He's pretty good.
Play-in. There's been a lot of them. It's funny. the Selvig kid, Derek, who's now at Dickinson, who's going to coach Eric. That's how old I am, by the way. My son's college coach I coached against. He was phenomenal. The Quali kid was such a hard match
Really
at Williston.
Yep.
And that year it was him and Bolovic and Wilhelm and Kick. I mean, that whole league, that was a phenomenal time. You know, I don't know if there's one kid you can pick over somebody else that was just that much better because, you know, it's hard. I do believe that there are going to be certain guys that we'll look back on and just go, wow, that is the phenomenal things they did. Like I said, doing it 25 years, you run into a lot of great players, and the great part for our state is they're really good people. Like they are. There's very few people that I'm leaving this going, I didn't like that kid. It's been a great grind.
I really appreciate you making time. I know you got to get back to work. Thanks so much for doing this. Enjoy retirement, okay?
Yeah, I wish it was from teaching too, but I got too many years of that to get too excited. I'm going to enjoy the winter, and thanks, Dom. I appreciate being here.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes, Dean Winczewski, former Minot head coach, stepping down after 25 years coaching basketball, 6 state championships. Good stuff there. We're overdue for a break. We'll get caught up here. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour on tap here on Hot Mic. Back right after this.